Good morning. Welcome to the Office of Early Childhood's Provider Business Support RFP Pre-Bid Conference. Today's Monday, January 29th, 2024. We're happy to have you with us today. My name is Deb Fliss. I am the Division Director for Quality Improvement at the Office of Early Childhood, and the award and project that will result from this RFP will operate within the Quality Improvement Division. Our agenda for today includes a welcome from Commissioner Bai. Margaret Gustafson, Education Specialist and Project Lead on our business supports, will provide an overview of the RFP. And then Kathy Lenahan, Grants and Contracts Division Director, will take us through the RFP logistics, the evaluation criteria, and key dates and reminders. Our thanks also to staff who are supporting, including Kyle Pylon and Paula DeMarco from the Grants and Contracts Division, and Shanae Russell for tech support. Those are the folks helping to make this all work this morning. This presentation includes a brief description of the RFP specifications and requirements, but note that it does not fully elaborate on all of the required elements. The presentation will therefore not supersede what is stated in the RFP or its appendices. Proposers are responsible for ensuring that their proposal is complete and accurate according to the information and requirements contained in the full RFP. We will respond to submitted questions in writing after the Bidders Conference. Proposers are responsible for ensuring that they read those official responses. And just a few logistics for you to be aware of. We will post the slides on our website and on the state contracting portal after this Bidders Conference. If during this presentation you have any technical issues, you may also email oec.rfp.eceqi@ct.gov with your questions. That email box is being monitored right now. Please type your questions regarding the RFP into the question box. All questions asked during this conference will be recorded, and responses to the questions will be posted in writing on the OEC's website and the state contracting portal after this conference. I'd now like to turn over to Commissioner Bai.
Thank you, Deb. Good morning, everybody. Happy to be here with you. On behalf of OEC, we really appreciate your interest. We can only do this critical work for young children and families with partners. And RFPs are our way that we work to have partners help us deliver high quality services that then result in improved childcare for children and families. And early childhood programs. So I just thank you for your interest. We always like to start and ground ourselves in our mission and vision, which any look at this will tell you that we are grounded in equity, that we know that things are not as equitable as they could be. And so we work hard to remove barriers and support children and families with sort of the services, the supports that they need to thrive. So we appreciate your interest in supporting programs that are working to meet the needs of children and families. Next slide. So OEC, I'm going to leave them up here so you have a minute to read them, but I think super important to stress our commitment to equity and anti-racism. Also, that we believe that families are our partners and see them in a strength-based way. When we have relationships with other organizations or with families, we strive to be respectful and collaborative, and we're working to build a culture of sort of warm, responsive care within the agency and with the agency's relationships outside. We know that these early years are super important, and we're really committed to constantly improving our services, improving the services that are offered through our contractors, so that the end goal is that children, providers, and families have high quality services. Next slide. Yep. You can see OEC has a pretty complicated milieu. We have all the agencies came together in one. We also oversee home visiting, child care licensing, birth to 3, care for kids, resource and referral. We've been able to add a parent cabinet to bring in parent voice. So within these services that we offer, as we look to RFPs like this one, we're looking to integrate services and make sure that folks using any part of our system know that we're part of a bigger system and there for children and families across different programs. Next slide. So this, the business supports work is grounded in the Early Care and Education and Quality Improvement Division. This Bidders Conference, I think you'll see there's a huge commitment to having a fair and equitable process here, that all RFPs will be honored and scored fairly. It's a very formal process. You could tell from Deb's reading of the prior slides. We know that and have heard from programs that they really appreciate business supports. And we know there are multiple folks delivering high quality business supports right now throughout the state and are appreciative of all of those efforts, because certainly one thing we know about early childhood is we have some scarcity and we need more supports in place, and programs when it comes to supporting their business operations, it's really important because we know they're not big margins, so that anything we can do to support that and that we'll be able to accomplish with this RFP can translate into improved wages for staff and improved quality for children. So I think that it's important just to say that we think there's a high value and a high return on business supports. And then in closing, we've just finished a blue ribbon panel process. My guess is many of you on this call participated, and business supports were recognized in that process as an important part of quality improvement for early childhood in Connecticut. So I'll just close by thanking you again for your interest and your willingness to partner with OEC and your trust in us. That we will have a fair RFP process. And I know from my grants and contracts team and my ECE QI team that is how this process will be. And you're here today to learn more about it in a fair way as well. And this will be recorded so you can go back to it. I believe Shanae can verify that, but we want to make these materials available to you. Thank you so much. I'm going to turn it back to Deb.
Thank you, Commissioner, for your comments and for your focus on this important issue as part of our quality improvement efforts. And yes, this is being recorded and it too will be posted on our website so that you can refer back to it. So we'll begin our overview with a description of the business supports RFP by reviewing the problem, then the objectives and vision for the work. Next slide, please. So as the Commissioner already referred, the problem is clear. Licensed programs are historically businesses built on a broken system of underfunding and a lack of business knowledge sufficient to manage within that system. Providers know about programming for young children, but they often lack the requisite business knowledge to create a thriving, sustainable, healthy business. And we know that providers are further impacted by the unprecedented challenges resulting from COVID-19 and by barriers including a shrinking and strained workforce, access challenges, including that the supply and demand for care are not well aligned, and a lack of resources to provide high quality, which most acutely impacts lower economic families and families of color. At the bottom of each of the following slides, you'll see a note that refers to the specific pages in the RFP to provide you with this information and further supporting information. Next slide, please. So the objectives. We are looking for an entity to implement a system promoting a continuous quality improvement business mindset. The system requires intentional design, collaboration, and an understanding of licensed early care and education providers, their funding, startup and ongoing operational needs, and capacity gaps across the state. We have 3 objectives for this RFP: to maintain where relevant and to add licensed capacity, to maintain where relevant and to add licensed early care and education businesses and to support their healthy business functions, and to make business supports a priority in childcare deserts, high social vulnerability index rated areas, and where businesses are owned and or administered by individuals of color and or serve families of color. Our vision for success is based on a theory of change that rests on the premise that early care and education providers can thrive when provided the appropriate resources to address their needs. Our vision includes systematizing provider financial operations and providing financial and systemic resources to create stable childcare operations that contribute to the healthy growth and development of young children and that enable their families to work. We will achieve our vision through one award to a respondent organization with the characteristics to support programs as thriving healthy businesses, the ability to identify trends and business needs in the field, and implementation strategy to provide needed supports. I'd now like to turn over to Margaret Gustafson, who will give us the review of the RFP. Thanks, Margaret.
Thank you, Deb. All right, we're going to hop into the meat of the RFP. And I think you'll see the guiding principles that Commissioner Bai spoke about as we weave our way through these sections. Let's start with the timelines. You'll see that there is an optional letter of intent due on February 5th. You'll note with each of these deadlines, we also have a time deadline. Please make special note of those, as we will not accept submissions after those times. February 19th will be the deadline for all questions. I'll talk more about that in just a second. And February 29th at 5 p.m. is when the proposals are due in entirety. For RFP questions, down below in that second row, you'll see that we will collect all questions by Mondays, January 29th, February 5th, 12th, and 19th. And then we will post the answers to those questions by that Friday. If OEC feels that it is warranted through the process, we will post an amended RFP by February 23rd. The next slides provide detail on the RFP content. As Deb mentioned, please make sure to refer to the full RFP. You'll see our notes at the bottom of each slide to refer to specific sections where you can get all of the detail. Regarding qualifications, our ideal respondent must be adaptable to the changing conditions of the childcare industry. We know that change is a constant. Also to the Connecticut business landscape and the Connecticut early childhood workforce. We are seeking respondents with the following qualifications: business expertise, where delivery of business supports is central to their mission and business activities and includes Connecticut childcare workforce knowledge, regulations, and business climate. Record of success, innovation and change management, strategic alignment, knowledge of state and regional nuances, training and technical assistance capabilities, and very strong fiscal management, both internally and for the project. Our scope of service for organizational strength includes respondents who will need to have childcare industry expertise and connectedness to the wider business-related arena, must be adaptable, responsive, capable of coordinating multiple projects, fiscally responsible, and strategically aligned to the OEC's vision for success. OEC is interested in potential respondents who can provide factual demonstration of characteristics, such as proven track record providing business support statewide, including proven track record providing childcare specific business support statewide. Our target population is new and aspiring family home, group home, and center license applicants, and already licensed family childcare homes, group homes, and childcare centers. Scope of services service expectations include 3 main buckets of work. The first is Tier 1 supports, training. These are foundational and developmental business-related training to our target audience. We estimate the deliverable at a minimum of 500 individuals served annually. The second bucket is Tier 2 supports or individual phased support. This includes tracking benchmarks for business achievement, delivering customized customer support to the program, and includes grants and technology to support the business. We estimate the deliverable at 150 programs annually. And the third bucket includes grants and incentives to engage, advance, and reward participating eligible providers as they advance their business practices. For staffing expectations, the ideal respondent can identify that leadership staff are actively engaged in business support, business development, and providing strategic leadership. Dedicated personnel will include staff having business and early childhood knowledge necessary to support the diversity of childcare businesses. Personnel are also dedicated to this service delivery and demonstrate availability to meet the language and schedule demands of providers who will access services including nights and weekends. The staffing must address statewide coverage. You noted with Commissioner Bai, we spoke a lot about diversity and equity. We are looking for a respondent that has or is actively working toward a diverse workforce with both multicultural and multilingual employees. For coordination and collaboration, our ideal respondent will demonstrate key characteristics, including the ability to work with OEC divisions and partners to mutually support healthy business development. Collectively, right, it does take a village. They will bring their own set of potential collaborating partners and resources to support this work. They will describe how the organization is positioned to represent childcare businesses as essential workers in the economy. They will communicate widely with the provider community and its stakeholders, implementing strategies that are culturally responsive and multilingual. And they will establish and engage a childcare business advisory board to inform and advance the work in the childcare community and with OEC and its partners. Data and technology expectations, as you know, it is a very tech-intensive world, so our ideal respondents will demonstrate key characteristics. They'll be able to use data as an informant to decision-making, understand that technology, specifically childcare management software and services, create the foundation for strong business practices. For infrastructure and utilization, we're looking for a respondent that has training and administrative structures that reflect current best practices. Present to OEC an established technology system that gathers and secures data and ensures privacy and confidentiality and can document the organization's financial health. For data security, privacy, and confidentiality, we're looking for a respondent who's able to secure all the data pursuant to all state and federal data statutes, regulations, and policies. The contract period for this RFP is for July 1, 2024 through June 30th, 2027. This includes 3 state fiscal years. You'll see in the graphic to the right that the amount per year is at $2 million for a total of $6 million. The ideal respondent will show clean opinions documented in the last 3 years of audited financial statements, show an organization budget, and a recent profit and loss statement. The organization will have strong financial systems and reporting capabilities and use generally accepted accounting principles. For cost standards, the respondent's budget and planned expenditures for this RFP must comply with the cost standards published by the State of Connecticut Office of Policy and Management. Please note that annual administrative costs are capped at 10% of the total budget. OEC will work with the awarded respondent to set management of the contract and data reporting. This is a very key feature to the work that OEC does, and you'll see as a focus across all of our contracts. We want very much to be able to partner both within the RFP and across other partners. There will be frequent regular meetings on planning, assessing, engaging, and advancing the contracted work. There will be required reports and required data submitted, and we will always have open communication to proactively assess challenges and course correct. What does this look like? For performance measures, there will be 2 levels of performance measures that OEC will look at with this vendor. Satisfaction and learning of the providers, and then the respondent's performance and that of the business development system at play. An example here pulled from the RFP includes a desired outcome of maintaining slots and increasing in areas that were identified previously by Deb Bliss in the slide about the focus: childcare deserts, high SBI rated areas, and infant toddler specific slots. The potential metric would look at the number of slots supported, the number of new slots supported, the funds that have been awarded to these programs and incentives, and number of slots in specific priority categories. The data source would be from intake data and provider ongoing support data. We want to be able to follow providers over time to ensure that we are maintaining those slots. This concludes the RFP content overview, and now I'll turn it over to Kathy Lenahan for RFP logistics.
Thanks, Margaret. Good morning, everyone. My name is Kathy Lenahan, and I am the Grants and Contracts Director here at OEC. And over the next couple of slides, we'll take you through the RFP logistics. So where to find and submit information. Information and all documentation are available in the electronic format on the state contracting portal. We provide you here with the link to that portal, and we recommend that you register at the state portal and subscribe to this RFP. If so, you will receive email updates, excuse me, when new documents are added or updated. Also, this RFP is available at the OEC's website, and here's the link. All questions and communications, letters of intent, excuse me for a minute. I apologize, let's try this again. All questions and communications, letters of intent, and the final proposal should be emailed to the oec.rfp eceqi@ct.gov. Submission and formatting requirements. As Deb Bliss had said at the beginning of this webinar, the page that you can reference for more detail on the submission and formatting requirements for this is page 15. What you'll find is information regarding the cover sheet, the requirements for the table of contents, the executive summary, and required attachments. You'll also find information on the style requirements, which limit the submission to a 35-page limit for main body of the proposal. It'll give you the page size, the font size of 12-point times New Roman font, the information on the margins, and the spacing. We are not judging how visually beautiful your proposal is, but a readable document that is simple to navigate makes it easier for us to focus on the substance of your proposal. So reminders, include page numbers and label each attachment. Make sure any scanned attachment is legible. Budgets should be submitted in their original spreadsheet format provided by the OEC. And before you submit your proposal, ask yourself, if I was reading through this proposal, would it be easy for me to find the information I'm looking for? And do I have to strain my eyes or rotate the document multiple times before I can read the content? We have provided on page 31 a proposal and formatting checklist. This is a tool to help you to put together your proposal. As you'll see, we line up with the information that's required for your cover sheet, and we go through the other elements that are required. Additional information on this can be found on page 31. Evaluation criteria. How will we be scoring your proposals? Further information and in much more detail can be found on evaluation criteria on pages 16 and 17 of the RFP. But for a high-level look at this, we will be looking at this evaluation criterion title. So we will be looking at organizational strengths, and organizational strengths will be weighted with 25% of the score. The scope of work application will have a 40% weight. IT, data evaluation, and performance management will have a 15% weight. Financial profile will have a 10% weight, and budget and staffing plan will have a 10% weight. One more time, we'll go through some key dates and reminders before the end of this webinar. These are the timelines that we shared earlier in this webinar. For RFP submission, important dates, February 5th, 2024. This is for the optional letter of intent. February 19th is the deadline for the first batch of questions. No, for the last batch of questions. And February 29th, the proposals are due. For RFP questions, Monday, January 29th, February 5th, February 12th, and February 19th. Answers to the questions will be posted on the following Fridays. February 23rd, if applicable, amendments to the RFP will be finalized. Contact information for this RFP. Paula DeMarco is the official contact. All emails shall be sent to the email at oec.rfp.eceqi@ct.gov. RFP information, as we referenced earlier, can be found on the state contracting portal, and respondents must register with the state contracting portal, CT Source. RFP information can also be found on the Office of Early Childhood website with the link. For more information, see page 4 of the RFP, and all RFP inquiries must be made in writing. We thank you for participating in this webinar and this Bidders Conference, and we look forward to the opportunity to review your applications. Thank you.